Heyo, my Planet Coaster friends, Johnny5 Alive here, and welcome back to another episode of Coaster Spotlight. And in today's video, we're going to be looking at Red Alps, created by K. Musala. So stay tuned, and let's check it out. Alright, this was sent in by one of our Discord expert builders and diamond patrons. Thank you so much for your support, Kevin. And here he says, "Hey Johnny, this is a blueprint for one of the coasters in my newest series. I use the 4-meter smoothing trick, so track view works best. Comes with triggered lighting, ride sign, and custom supports. Path placement should be rather easy, and in fact, it was." Alright, so he's going for a realism, small compact dive coaster, 4-meter smoothing trick, so he wants the realism as close as possible. So let's check it out. Alright, here we go, guys. As you can see, it's small, it's compact. Not easy to do getting these kind of compact, placeable dive coasters. Interesting choice going with the 4-meter smoothing trick on a small, compact dive coaster. As good as the smoothing trick is, I'm not the biggest fan of it, especially for the dive coaster, as this is something you want to ride in seat view and not in track view. You're going to experience that first dive in a rider's seat perspective. So yeah, for me, I don't know if the juice is worth the squeeze on this guy, but let's find out, and you guys can decide for yourselves. So let's take a look at the stats here. It's a dive 8th on 5.03 excitement, 4.34 fear, and a 0.74 nausea. Let's get on this. All right, we will start with the seat view. He did want us to do track view, but I want to experience the dive coaster in its fullest before we do track view. So let's do that. All right, there it is. I quite like the spot searchlights that you put in here, the red and white lights. Very much like that. Kind of reminds me of it's got the Canada theme going on here. The red and white. Needs a big maple leaf sign somewhere here. Let's talk about it. So for me, the 4-meter smoothing trick, don't really feel like the juice was worth the squeeze here. The reason that technique was kind of made was to help with transitioning. Like, you can't really do a heartline roll in Planet Coaster, but if you do it right using the 4-meter smooth trick, you can get pretty close to. And it does help with the transitions in between drastic inversions, corkscrews, all sorts of things like that. Now, I think if we were to not use the 4-meter smoothing trick, we have this one inversion going down into this. This twist here benefits from it quite a bit, but then from there it's pretty standard. So I think you're benefiting from it in 2 spots. So the 4-meter smoothing trick, it can be very tedious, and I don't think there was a lot done with it here to kind of warrant it, because it does, at the end of the day, it does force you to go into track view, otherwise you get a rickety ride. There's only a few spots in the coaster that really give you the payoff. So I think you could have accomplished the same coaster, or maybe even a slightly better coaster, because you wouldn't have been fiddling with the 4-meter smoothing as much, and maybe you could have done a little bit more with your track length. Now, in terms of the coaster design, as for a dive coaster, I mean, it's a placeable blueprint dive coaster. It doesn't drop that far. It's not that big of a drop. In terms of straight vertical drop, it's only, 5-10 meters at most. What I would have probably done is created a concrete box that you have to terraform into the ground. That way it actually drops to, let's say, about here. You drop down into that concrete box and, barely scrape by the bottom and then pop back out. You get a bigger drop, a bigger fear factor on that. It's not going to be that much. We've seen dive coasters go way, 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 way further than that. And I think, and then having that concrete there gives you a little bit something, because as we're looking at the dive drop from here, it would have really benefited having these concrete barricades here and here, and knowing that that drop goes down further. And it would have done something visually with this negative space that we're not utilizing here. So that's one thing I would have changed. I would have liked to see a little bit more length with the coaster. Does a drop, does an inversion, does a little half corkscrew here, and then it's over. So I can see, spending that time with the 4-meter smoothing trick, you got carried away with that, and you're trying to try something new. And I totally get it, and highly encourage trying new things. Now, while you're trying something new, don't stray away from what got you to the race, so to speak, because I know you're capable of really good coasters, Kevin, and for me, this one was lacking in theme. Now, while not a lot of coasters, you'll see stuff like this in Six Flags or other parks, but they still do a really good job of adding in color pops and theming throughout. So what this for me lacks is a really big sign here saying the Red Alps. That's what you called this. Red Alps. You could even have like I said, the Canadian flag in there, because it has those Canadian colors. And what I would have done is pushed some of the theming in smaller, minute details, little red caps on the fences, or make some sort of preset where you have red capped ends with black little concrete barriers. You could have some red flags strung up about, custom red lamps, red and white lamps, a little bit more garden work around here for your entrance. I like what you've done here with this stuff. I just want to see a little bit more of it. Yeah, integrate all that together with some more decorative artwork. You could even had your Red Alps sign here, and then a garden bed with maybe a flag made out of flowers as the garden bed. I think that would have been pretty nice. So I know not every coaster needs to be themed fantasy, sci-fi, western, yada yada yada. I like this realism. That's why we're featuring it here today. But we want to explore options on how we can make that pop more, push that more. You can have a modern coaster but still really push that theming. I think something like the boarding station could be decorated a little bit more, touches of color, little bits of trim, maybe some flags hanging about or banners strung up about it, some lights built into there, change up the colors of the shingling, build in some strong trim as well throughout here. Just stack it up a little bit more here and there. I liked your spotlights. I feel like this could be pushed a little bit further, but it's also feeling it's like 90%, and the saying is the last 10% is 90% of the work. And that's what I'm looking for here, is to see some of those details pop out. And you'll find as you're detailing your fences, your lighting around the fences, some garden work around here and there, putting in that concrete block so we drop down into it, just getting some of the details on the building standing out, being a little bit more prominent, some flags and that stuff. You're going to be looking through those pieces for quite some time, and you'll end up finding that last 10% took you just as long as making this coaster, but it definitely makes the difference in the end. So keep that stuff in mind. I still think it's a good creation overall. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. What would you have done differently on this coaster? Did you like it the way it is? Do you think it benefited from the 4-meter smoothing trick, or do you think you would have been fine using just the standard pieces in game? Boom. So there you go, guys. Lots to talk about down below. Be sure to leave your thoughts, and that's going to do it for this episode of Coaster Spotlight. If you guys enjoyed, please be sure to smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe for more daily Planet Coaster videos. And if you'd like to support the show, you could do so by becoming a patron. Links are down in the description below, as well to download this coaster blueprint to place in your parks. Drop Kevin a rating. I'm sure he'd appreciate it. And thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye now.